इतिहास में पहली बार एक नया अध्याय जोड़ते हुए sit back and watch offensive drone operations as part of our capability development roadmap. Please take your attention to the screens to your front. A combat drone swarm programmed for a series of autonomous tactical missions is about to launch from multiple heights.
देवी और सज्जनों, आप अपनी बाईं और दाईं ओर देख सकते हैं 75 सशक्त ड्रोन्स उड़ान भरते हुए। यह स्वचालित ड्रोन्स बिना किसी मानव हस्तक्षेप के दिखाए गए दुश्मन के इलाके में तकरीबन 50 किलोमीटर अंदर घुसकर अपने मिशन को एक सफल अंजाम देंगे। Disruptive technologies today, ladies and gentlemen, are driving strategic military affairs like never before. From doctrines to operational philosophies to combat capabilities, the all-pervasive impact of technology is indeed staggering. The advent of multi-domain operations signifying the expansion of conflict from the traditional domains of land, air and sea to the newer domains of space and cyber has been driven by the phenomenal pace of technological change. Technology is in fact steadily emerging as a critical core combat capability. The Indian Army in consequence is embracing enabling disruptive technologies with unprecedented gusto. From artificial intelligence to autonomous weapon systems to quantum, blockchain and robotics, we are welding their myriad military attributes into our war fighting. We are equally conscious of the fact that if India is to make the successful transition from a balancing to a leading power, self-reliance in technologies will be critical. The Indian Army therefore has undertaken numerous technology initiatives in concert with dreamers, startups, MSMEs, the private sector, the academia, DRDO and DPSUs. One such project is the offensive operations which we are incubating with a Bangalore-based startup.
Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to give you a quick rundown of the target array as part of this morning's capability demonstration. We have 13 targets numbered left to right from Tango 1 to Tango 13 depicting various enemy dispositions. The tactical array from Tango 1 to Tango 6 is for the benefit of our honored guests seated to the left of the saluting base. Targets Tango 7 to Tango 13 are for the viewing pleasure of our guests seated to the right. Tango 1 depicts an enemy radar position on the extreme left. Tango 2 to your left and Tango 12 to your right depict enemy mortar positions. Tango 3 to your left and Tango 10 to your right indicate enemy tanks. Tango 4 and Tango 5 to your left. Tango 8 and Tango 10 to your right depict enemy fuel dumps. Tango 6 and Tango 7 are enemy troop concentrations. Tango 11 to your right is a terror hideout, while Tango 13 on your extreme right depicts an enemy helipad. In addition to these targets, ladies and gentlemen, there are two landing zones marked as Lima 1 and Lima 2 in the front lawns right opposite you.
देवी और सज्जनों, आप अपने ठीक ऊपर देख सकते हैं स्वचालित और स्वदेशी आक्रमण ड्रोन्स का दस्ता गौरव और शान से आपके सामने से गुजरता हुआ, पूर्ण अनुशासन, आधुनिक तकनीकियों से सुसज्जित, दुश्मन के ठिकानों को सफलतापूर्वक बर्बाद करने के लिए पूरी तरह से तैयार. The drone swarm, ladies and gentlemen, as you see in the sky above, is an aggregation of various weight classes and task-specific platforms as also kinetic and non-kinetic capacities. In the execution of its mission, the swarm is driven by deep technological collaboration, precise synchronization, and the power of distributed intelligence, all without any human intervention whatsoever.
Offensive drone operations symbolize the beginning of the Indian Army's journey towards autonomy in weapon platforms as also the transition to digital proficiencies in combat. It also signals our deep commitment towards forging the great wealth of our human resources with cutting-edge technological prowess to take our combat preparedness to a new high.
Ladies and gentlemen, the demonstration today, we must concede, may not meet all stringent metrics of a viable tactical setting. We have therefore telescoped distances and time frames for reasons of safety and viewing ease.
The swarm of 75 drones dispersed across two drone heights took off at a pre-designated time of 1142 hours this morning. To be precise, to carry out a series of autonomous randomized swarming missions across the target area. Such autonomy is enabled through a complex interface between onboard computers, smart and adaptive artificial intelligence algorithms, advanced photometry and edge computing for better target designation. It needs to be emphasized that the execution of the operational tasks that you will soon witness is entirely autonomous without any human intervention. It is driven by continuous satellite feeds, digital scene matching and area correlation techniques, acronymed as DSMAC, to enable dynamic targeting. Pre-programmed as well as opportunity targets can be engaged by drone swarms with equal dexterity and poise.
Ladies and gentlemen, the drone swarm is now ready to execute a series of offensive missions. If you look towards the center of the parade ground and take your eyes to the sky above, you will see 4 mothership drones deploying several child drones to execute precise AI-enabled kamikaze kinetic strikes. There you go, ladies and gentlemen, the child drones have been released. If you look closely, you will see 4 child drones right below their mother drones. The child drones, once released, will orient, realign themselves to the assigned targets and their release points in 3 dimensions. The onboard edge computer then uses advanced AI algorithms to optimize the attack trajectory. Once the trajectory is optimized, the drone, armed with explosives, flies at a blistering speed and crashes into the target, thereby destroying itself along with the target in a typical kamikaze strike.
As the child drones prepare for the kamikaze mission, ladies and gentlemen, you see another team of drones now entering the mission area from the lift. These drones will carry out a confirmatory reconnaissance using raster scans. They shall then assign targets to individual drones for the execution of a series of pre-programmed offensive missions.
Ladies and gentlemen, the offensive drone operations will add a new dimension to the Indian Army's growing capacities in non-contact warfare. It will facilitate the execution of kinetic strikes with surgical precision as deep as 45 to 50 kilometers inside enemy territory. जी हाँ देवी और सज्जनों, ये स्वचालित ड्रोन्स बिना किसी मानवीय हस्तक्षेप के दुश्मन के इलाके में 50 किलोमीटर अंदर घुसकर किसी भी मिशन को अंजाम देने की क्षमता रखते हैं. Such-like capabilities will give necessary punch and add salience to our capacities, both in conventional and grey zone domains. The payloads can be varied and customized based on the target profile to game-changing effect as evidenced recently in the conflicts in Syria and Armenia, Azerbaijan. Witness, ladies and gentlemen, the child drones stabilizing and acquiring their targets in preparation for the kamikaze strikes. The kamikaze strikes, may I emphasize, is a complex maneuver necessitating both speed and precision to achieve the desired effect. Enabled, of course, by the convergence of breakthrough technologies in avionics, information technology, artificial intelligence, and the intricate miniaturization of micro-munitions. The child drones hovering above the center of the parade ground have completed the orientation process, identified and acquired the targets. Having optimized their attack trajectories, they are now ready to execute the kamikaze strikes using DSMAC for terminal effect.
Please take your attention to the terror hideout Tango 11 on your right to witness the kamikaze kinetic strike. Ladies and gentlemen, now please turn your attention to the tank on the left to witness a second kamikaze kinetic strike on enemy tank depicted by Tango 3.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please take your attention back to the screens in front, where you can see a detachment of drones carrying out the search for their targets, technically called as foraging using the onboard AI edge computing. The enemy mortar positions acquired. Enemy tanks identified. FOL dumps acquired. Enemy troop concentrations identified. Even as the pre-programmed targets were being acquired, an opportunity target, namely the helipad at Tango 13, was picked up by a group of surveillance drones at the head of a larger swarm. Consequent to quick and rapid reiterations in terms of IFF and DSMAC, The opportunity target helipad at Tango 13 will now be engaged. Ladies and gentlemen, an opportunity strike on helipad at Tango 13.
Please take your attention to enemy mortar position pre-programmed targets at Tango 2 and Tango 12, which are now being engaged by precision strikes by loitering drones. Ladies and gentlemen, Tango 2 and Tango 12. Please watch area fuel dumps at Tango 4, Tango 5 on the left and Tango 8 and Tango 9 on the right for incendiary strikes. Ladies and gentlemen, target fuel dumps.
And now look towards Tango 6 and Tango 7 for air-burst engagements of enemy troop concentrations in the open. Ladies and gentlemen, Tango 6 and Tango 7. What you have witnessed today is merely a fraction of the possible lethality that can be delivered in terms of TNT tonnage and kinetic impact. We have restricted the same for obvious reasons of safety. But just imagine into the future as our capacities in swarming grow in weight and sophistication and we graduate to fixed wing class. The lethality and destructive capacities of ammunition delivery will be enhanced by a significant order of magnitude. We now turn to close support operations consisting of hover and drop, land and retrieve and para drop to be carried out by 3 sets of drones which are now positioning themselves for the task in the center of the parade ground.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you watch, the drones designated for close support operations are now commencing their descent.
For ease of understanding, the logistic drones closer to you on the left and the right lawns will carry out the land and retrieve mission, while the drones further away will carry out hover and drop operations. The land and retrieve operations are useful to deliver fragile logistic payloads safely, an attribute of great value, especially when isolated posts in inhospitable terrain must be maintained. The hover and drop operations are carried out whence either the terrain does not permit landing or prolonged exposure while delivering critical payloads may be precluded for tactical reasons.
Please take your attention to drones designated for land and retrieve. They have landed in front of you to deliver white-colored medical payload. On landing, the drones automatically switch off their rotors, thus enabling the ground crew to retrieve and exchange critical payloads. Once the payloads are exchanged, the drones restart autonomously and navigate back to the base station. As you see, ladies and gentlemen, the ground crew approaching the drones to exchange the payloads. Please take your attention to the drones designated for the hover and drop mission. In the meantime, they have also dropped their red-colored payloads of vital logistic value from a safe altitude. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your attention to the far end of the lawns where the payloads have been dropped.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention to the sky above where the drones are ready to carry out the para-drop operations. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The parachutes have been deployed. These operations are conducted when direct payload release cannot be carried out due to tactical, terrain or payload constraints, as also to avoid disclosing the precise location of own troops on ground. It may interest you to know that a swarm of 75 drones can deliver 600 kgs of critical operational, medical or logistic loads through such a mode. And now, having successfully executed the close support operations, the drones are now flying back to their hides.
देवी और सज्जनों, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री के आत्मनिर्भर भारत की ओर बढ़ते भारतीय सेना के सुदृढ़ कदम, इस आत्मनिर्भरता का एक मजबूत स्तंभ साइंस तथा टेक्नोलॉजी, विज्ञान और तकनीक की अनंत शक्तियों से ही भारतीय सेना में ऑफेंसिव ड्रोन्स का आगाज संभव हो पाया है. Our tryst with offensive drone operations, ladies and gentlemen, began in August last year when we swarmed a mere 5 drones. From those humble beginnings, we graduated to a swarm of 20 drones in October 2020, followed by 35 drones in December. Today, we have demonstrated flawless operation of a swarm of 75 drones. It is of course enabled by massive technological convergence, but more critically by the best Indian minds in engineering, artificial intelligence and software programming. There is little doubt that military-civil fusion, the bringing together of the best and the brightest, the integration of talent of every hue will remain central to the Prime Ministerial vision of self-reliance. In the ensuing year, we propose to take our demonstrated capacities in drone swarming to a new high. We aspire to grow our capacities in swarming to definitely 3 and possibly 4 digits. We shall also add multiple competencies in terms of integration of cutting-edge electronic warfare systems and sophisticated targeting. It will enhance the operational efficacy of drone swarms by several notches. Having successfully concluded close support operations, we shall now witness the synchronized landing of the drone swarms on landing zones Lima 1 and Lima 2 in front of you.
To execute the landing maneuvers, the swarm leverages distributed artificial intelligence, wherein the spatial distribution of drones is used to carry out complex collective path planning. Each drone in the swarm has an on-board computer. This computer receives multiple inputs from sensors, which in turn are run through complex AI algorithms, thus allowing the swarm to carry out precise AI-enabled computational tasks in flight without any reference to the ground control station. Having completed the process of collective path planning, the drones are now stabilizing at a common altitude of 15 meters above the ground level to undertake the synchronized landing.
Meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, a representative segment of the drone swarm is now flying past to shower flower petals, an expression of gratitude for the faith reposed by the Indian Army in their technological abilities and combat prowess. Such human-machine teaming, ladies and gentlemen, will be the critical pathway for the growth of technological capacities in the military in times to come.
In front of you, you can see 2 groups of drones. A drone swarm of 9 on the left and 10 drones on the right. For executing any operation, the swarm employs distributed intelligence capability, implying that there is no leader or follower. Each drone in the swarm is alive to the environment, sensitive to the mission requirements, and leverages the onboard sensors and computational resource to ensure success of the swarm in executing any mission that has been assigned to it.
देवी और सज्जनों, इस ड्रोन दस्ते की काबिलियत का सेना में आगमन हमारी कार्य क्षमता एवं मारक क्षमता को कई गुना तक बढ़ाएगा। हमारे सैनिकों के जोखिम भरे कामों में सुरक्षा का आदान प्रदान होगा। क्षमता दुश्मन के खिलाफ बहुत सिद्ध साबित होगी।
And there you go, ladies and gentlemen, the drones have started their descent. The landing operation in progress, though appearing to be an endearingly simple maneuver, is actually a complex operation which lies at the intersect of numerous technologies. And a smooth and spectacular touchdown there for the drone swarm.
लैंडिंग का शानदार नजारा आपके समक्ष।
There are, as we have begun to discover, no limits to technological enterprise, innovation, and imagination. When imbued with such a spirit and passion, the Indian Army can, as we have just demonstrated, build robust capacities across the combat spectrum. The novel display of air power and the threat that it poses to the traditional prima donnas of combat, the tanks, guns, and dug-in infantry, is merely one facet amidst a plethora of growing capacities and